Hello everyone and welcome to ITLS Academy Empower the Youth. So today in this lecture we will going to understand what is validation. So what is validation and how it has a huge application in pharmaceutical industries and how validation is concerned with pharmaceutical industry. So in this particular lecture we will understand what is validation and how it is related to pharmaceutical industry. So here one thing I would like to mention here that validation is not only related to pharmaceutical industries but it is related to many other industries like food industries, like cosmetic industries, like beverage industries, like whatever the product that we are utilizing, that a human is consuming. Validation is related to all those, or you can say all that kind of industry. So firstly, let us understand what is validation. So before understanding the definition part, let me give you a very brief introduction about validation. So see student, validation is a procedure which authorizing the documentary evidences, that proves the following process or method that is involved in the production of any medicine or any drug is safe for human consumption. That is, the product is utilized by a human, is perfectly safe, and it will give the expected result. Why? Because whenever you are utilizing or you are consuming any type of a drug, your expectation is that after consuming this kind of drug, my health will be fine. So this validation, it is a procedure, or you can say it is such a process, which authorizing the documentary, means it authorize the documentation evidences, and that document evidences have a proof that the method or the process that is involved in the production of this and that particular drug is safe for human consumption, and at the end it will give the expected result. So this is a validation. So the definition says that validation is the documented act of proving that any procedure, process, equipment, material, activity, system actually leads to the expected result that I have told you. Okay, so here it is not concerned with the process or the procedure. Okay, so validation have that document. अगर if in हिंदी I will tell you this, that validation के पास एक record है documented form के तहत, जो ये बताता है कि जो प्रोसीजर, जो प्रोसेस, जो इक्विपमेंट्स, इवन द रॉ मटेरियल जो इसमें यूज़ हुआ है इस पर्टिकुलर ड्रग को बनाने के लिए, मैन्युफैक्चर करने के लिए, ये पूरी तरीके से सेफ है और ये एट द एंड इट विल गिव द एक्सपेक्टेड रिजल्ट. दैट इज समथिंग व्हाट इज वैलिडेशन इज. ओके, सो ये एक डॉक्यूमेंट के फॉर्म में होता है स्टूडेंट्स. इट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ द डॉक्यूमेंटेड एंड दिस रिकॉर्ड हैव्स द प्रूफ ऑफ द एक्चुअल सेफ्टी ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर drug. Okay, so according to ISO definition, validation is the confirmation by examination and provision of objective evidence that the particular requirement for a specific intent are fulfilled. Okay, so this validation is the confirmation. Means simply, if you can say, I'm just writing it here, you can note it down somewhere, that this validation is equal to the confirmation. Why I am saying this validation is related to confirmation? Because the document gives the proof that yes, this particular method is free from any source of microbial attack, any source of microbial contamination, and this product is safe. So validation gives the confirmation about the safety of the product. Here product means simply a drug that is manufactured by any pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so validation, if I say that validation programs in the pharmaceutical industries, it involves various type of component. Okay, whether it is a cleaning, whether it is the equipments, whether it is the instrumentation. So if you see that this validation equipment that is used in the in the manufacturing of the drug. Okay, so here also the equipment are properly sanitized, properly washed, so that there should be no microbial attack. Okay, so this is the brief introduction and the definitions of validation. And again, if I'm repeating it, that validation, it is a process, documented evidence that that gives the or that provides a high degree of assurance to a desired result. And the term validation, it is widely used in the pharmaceutical industries. Okay, so validation, it is basically and widely used in the pharmaceutical industries. So here I would like to mention one thing, student, that this validation term kahan se aaya. Okay, I'm just writing it down some. Okay, just give me a moment. So the term validation, comes from a word valid, or you can also say that validity or validity. Okay, which means that legally defined. Okay, valid means, I'm since here is some space issue, so I'm just writing it here. Validity, valid or validity means legally legally defined. Okay, this is a validation means. So the if we talk about the concept, that from where this concept of validation was first came. So it was first proposed by FAD, that is Food and Drug Administration, and in year 1970s. Okay, and why it is used to improve the quality of the pharmaceutical products. Okay, I'm just writing it here. Which in which year, you can note it down somewhere, because in examination, okay students, so they can ask you that in which year this validation came into existence. So in year 1970s it came into existence. And what actually by which from where it was proposed. So it was proposed by FAD, that is Food and Drug Administration. And what is the objective? So the objective is to improve the quality of the pharmaceutical products. So, since students, there is a wide varieties of procedure, method and activities that are validated to check and improve their quality of drug. Okay. Okay, now moving forward, like according to FDA and Drug Administration that I have just discussed here, the goal of validation is to establish a documented evidence which prove a high degree of assurance that a specific process will consistently produce a product meeting its predetermined specification and quality attribution. So this is the goal, or you can say the objective behind the proposal of FDA, that it gives or it can just provide a proof, documented proof, that yes, this product is completely free from any source of contaminant, and this product is completely free from any source of microbial attack, and it will give the expected result by utilizing this particular drug. So this is what FDA's goal is, sorry, not yes, FDA goal is, or you can say the objective behind the proposal of the validation. So it has a huge demands in the pharmaceutical industries, because the drug is something that is, providing a life of a infected person, और एक ह्यूमन है जो काफ़ी टाइम से बीमार है, and the drug is the only way to save his or her life. So it is the duty of the pharmaceutical industries to provide or to manufacture that kind of drug that is free from any source of microbial attack, and that can give a expected result, and that by utilizing or consuming that drug, a life of a person can be saved. So this is something pharmaceutical industries look forward, and in this particular campaigning, validation is one of the process that is helping to provide the quality of the drug. Now let's move further and let's see what is the need of the validation. So as I have just told you in a general way that what is the need. Okay, so let me read it out for you, that before introduction of a new method into a routine use, then whenever the condition changes for which a method has been validated, example instrument with different characteristics, whenever the method is changed, the change is outside the original scope of the method, so there is a need of validation. So whenever you are introducing any method, okay, since there is a method that is being used from years, now it's time to introduce a new method. For that particular new method, the validation play a very important role, just to check whether this method is fulfilling the demand of quality assurance or not, means whether this method is safe for the production of medicine or not. So here the need of validation is there. So number one point. Then whenever the condition changes from which a method has been validated, means instrument with different characteristics. So whenever there is a existence or introduction of any new instrument, so this need of validation is there. Then the third point says that whenever the method is changed, as in the just same or just like the point one, so here also the need of validation. In simple terms, it's just check the quality of the food product, and it keeps the proof of the method or instrument or any equipment that is used in the manufacturing of that particular drug. Now let's see the scope of validation. So now comes what is the scope, or not a scope, sorry, what is the purpose of validation. So to accept an individual sample as a member of population under the study, to admit this sample to the measurement process, to minimize the later questions on sample authenticity, to provide an opportunities for resampling when needed. So since I've already told you in the first slide, in the previous slide, that this validation, what is the purpose and what is the objective of validation. So if we summarize in the points, then whenever you want to accept the individual sample, okay, so there the validation play a very important role. Then whenever you want to admit sample to a measurement process, then again validation is one of the important uh, play a very important role. Whenever you want to check or the authenticity of any sample, whenever you want to minimizes the risk of the product failure, then also validation play a very important role. Similar case is with the to whenever you want to provide an opportunities for resampling of the product, or when needed, then also this validation play a very important role. So in all these scenario, validation is play a very important role in providing the authenticity to the product that is used in the pharmaceutical industry. So that is formed whenever there is a chances or whenever the product is made. Okay, so this is the purpose of purpose of validation. Now comes the advantages. So what are the advantages and that this of validation? So during the process, the knowledge of the process increases. One of the advantages, it assures the repeatability of the process. It ensures the fluency of the production. It ensures that the product is continuously according to the marketing or authorization. It decreases the risk of manufacturing problems. It decreases the expense caused by the failures in the production. It decreases the risk of failing the GMPs. सो इन ब्रीफ, और अगर हम इन सारे पॉइंट्स को समराइज करके समझें, सो वैलिडेशन इज समथिंग that checks the quality of the production of any pharmaceutical drug. Since if you maintain the quality at the first step, means if you properly check the raw material, if you properly check the equipment that is used, if you properly summarize what are the procedure that you will going to use, then you can minimizes the risk of the manufacturing problem. You minimizes the risk of failing in GMPs. So that will आप ये कह सकते हो कि आपकी कॉस्ट को बचा लेता है, क्योंकि आपको वापस से वो प्रोडक्ट नहीं बनाना पड़ता है। अगर फेलियर हो जाए तो ऑब्वियसली यू री कंस्ट्रक्ट सारी चीज़ें एंड फिर से आप प्रोडक्शन करते हो उस प्रोडक्ट का। देन अगेन द रीप्रोडक्शन, दैट अगर एक बार प्रोडक्शन हो गया फिर से आप उस चीज़ को प्रोड्यूस करोगे तो ऑब्वियसली योर कॉस्ट विल बी हाई. Okay, so in this way you are saving your cost. Okay, you are saving your time, you are saving your manpower. So it is very important to check at the first step that the process is under the GMP's guidelines, under the GLP guidelines, and under the regular what all is said by the regulatory bodies or according to the regulatory bodies guideline. So here you can minimize the risk. Okay, now comes the types of validation. So see, before understanding the types of validation, I would like to mention one thing, that uh, what are the things that can be asked in the interviews in a student, or sometimes in a examination they can ask you that a scenario where validation is required. Why there is a requirement of this validation? I'm just writing the heading and you can go sorry, you can note it down somewhere. Okay, a a scenario where validation is required. Okay, a scenario where validation is required. So I would like to explain this. So see, suppose there is a company management and that has recently decided to install an information management system in the analytical laboratory. Okay, and the system has a built-in automation program to log the samples, that is used in the laboratory for the manufacturing of any drug. So see, there is a system that is built, that has a built-in automation program. Automation program for what? For to log sample, for testing, for specifications, sometimes for the result analyst and reports. Okay, now the system needs to be trained to use numerous formula based on which the system will process the input and it generate the final result. Okay, so here those result will be used to generate the certificate of the analysis. साथ ही साथ they will subsequently, the batch of the product can be released to the market. So here how validation is required. So here validation, it will prove the result that is generated by a new information management that you have installed are accurate, are precise, are reproducible, are free from any bias, or you have to that is free from any robust. So here validation is playing a very important role. So the validation is study will not only prove the result that is true, but it also but it will give the signal that the status of the product quality and support compliance with regulatory requirement. So can you see that how the validation is helping any system that has just have a inbuilt automation program. Okay, so it is providing the you can say uh, uh, it is providing a result to be accurate, it's the result to be true, as well as it is providing a signal that that the status of the product quality is fine. Okay, it can be widely used by the pharma by the human consumption. Okay, so this is where the validation the scenario where the validation is required. So this is an additional information I just wanted to have a brief introduction about this topic, because sometimes in examination they can ask you what is the scenario where validation is required, or whenever you are giving any interviews, so they can ask you this thing. So this again is very important. You can go through this uh, thing on Google, so you can have a more information. I have just given the overview of the scenario where validation is required. Okay, now moving back to the topic, that is types of validation. So students, there are major types of validation that is there. The first one is the process validation, second is the clinical validation, then is your equipment validation, and at last there is a validation of analytical method. So all these methods we will going to discuss in detail, but before understanding the types of validations, I would like to say one thing, that you just please go through the validation once again, so the introduction part, so for the better understanding of the types of validation. Okay, so in a brief way I will going to discuss what is process validation, cleaning, equipment, and analytical method. So in the next lecture I'll be explaining all these types in detail, but let me give you a brief introduction about what is a process validation. So this type of validation, student, it basically demonstrate the documented proofs, and that documented proofs which carries a very higher degree of surety that the process will consistently produce a product which meet all the predetermined quality characteristics and specification. Okay, so here the process validation, it also assures the repeatability of the process, and decreases the risk of manufacturing problem, which can lead to an increase in the output of predetermined quality. So on the basis of the stage of production under the process validation, it can be of different types. For example, revalidation, retrospecific validation, concurrent validation, prospective validation. Okay, now the next is the cleaning. So if you see the process here, it is the main focus is on the documented proofs. Now in the cleaning, it will have a cleaning validation. It provides the documented setup with a high degree of surety that the particular system, okay, the equipments that is used is properly cleaned, and there is no such microbial contaminant that is attached to any equipment. The equipment that is used is purely free from any source of contamination. So pharmaceutical product are contaminated by a variety of substances. For example, the lubricants that is used, the airborne materials that is there, and prepared the product residue, the previous product residue, and the microbes. Hence, an adequate cleaning procedure it play a very important role to prevent the contamination and the cross contamination. Now comes the equipment validation, same as the cleaning ones, that the equipment that is used is correct. The equipment that is used is the latest technology equipments, and the equipments that are the basic component of the pharmaceutical industries. Before performing in the process in the pharma industries, it play a very important role. The validation play a very important role in the cleaning of such type of equipments. So again, they check the design qualification, they check the installation qualification of the equipment, they check the performance qualification, then at the last they check the process qualification. Then comes the validation or analytical method. Okay, this uh, uh, type of product that what is analytical method of validation. So in this, the purpose of the analytical validation is to verify that the selected analytical procedure will give a reliable result. Means the result is very reliable, very true, that are adequate for the intent purpose. Okay, so there are different parameters also on which come under the analytical yes, analytical method. The first parameter, it check the accuracy, they check the repeatability, they check the reproducibility, they check the specification, they check the range, they even check the detection limit. Okay, so these are the parameters that came under the heading analytical method. So this is just an overview, students. So in the next lecture I'll be covering the types of validation in detail. So yeah, that comes to the end of the lecture. If you have any queries, students, anything related to the lecture, you can simply leave the queries in the comment section below. In the next lecture, I'll be answering the queries. You can follow ITLS Academy on different portal. This is our website, that is www.itlsacademy.com. This is our helpline number, that is 7080833450. So thank you for watching, students. Please do like, share and subscribe ITLS Academy. Thank you so much.